Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is Oracle Ong, and this is a personal reading for a dear friend, Mike. And Mike, we are joined today by some gorgeous new crystals. They just arrived, and hopefully they're here to spread abundance. They're here to spread positivity. Also, amethyst. A crystal about temperance and moderation. It's represented by the temperance card in the tarot. And here it's about finding sobriety, finding the middle path, um, a path between reason and desire. And so synthesizing those two kinds of opposite energies. Um, Rational and emotional. These two forces are so important in our lives, and I hope that looking at your 2020 reading, that is one virtue that you find yourself coming back to again and again. And I think it speaks to this current moment that I'm doing this reading. It's Friday the 13th here, but I think it applies also for your year ahead. So, what does balance mean for you? What does moderation mean for you? Which two energies are you trying to synthesize and harmonize? Um, and of course, you want to manifest from a place of being centered, of being grounded. What does that mean for you to be centered, to be grounded? What needs to happen to get yourself in that zone, in that sweet spot? And you'll need to find new tricks, new ways of addressing being pulled by different extremes in the year ahead. And I think looking at the cards, I already drew out 6 cards, and we're going to draw 4 more cards. And the first card that came out is the Two of Swords. So here you've got a samurai represented here. There's a crescent moon above her head. Her eyes are closed, and the swords are drawn as if in a cross, right? So the crossed arms, the crossed swords, closed eyes signals defensiveness, signals conflict, signals getting ready for a battle ahead, and also ultimately a lack of clarity. It seems like the samurai, and I think Aries as a sign of the warrior, right, is a first sign of the zodiac, and that is you. Um, this represents you. You are being torn between two different paths. You are also being um, you feel that you're about to gear up for something looming ahead in front of you, but you're not quite sure what to prepare for. And I'm not. And let's look at the cards and the energy of the cards to gain more clarity about the situation. So it seems that the Two of Swords is already very defensive, um, already armored up, going back to our theme of like moderation or temperance. um, Two of Swords has already put up her barriers rather than kind of being open, being an active listener, for her to adapt properly the right strategy to apply to this conflict ahead of her. And unfortunately, the second card um, continues with the story of confusion, lack of clarity, and here there's an element of bondage. You can see the rope tied around his neck. This is Eight of Swords. You, of course, swords is the suit of the mind. Swords is the suit of messages. Eight in particular means like an abundance of messages that are piercing, um, being juggled in one's head. Um, but Eight of Swords has a hopeful quality to it in that there seems to be a solution here, and that's to open one's eyes, to to resist this position of self-victimhood. So it's as if Two of Swords and Eight of Swords together, they're kind of telling you this story um, to break away, to interrupt this narrative that's going on in your head, that there's a conflict ahead, and you're beating yourself up for it. Perhaps you're over preparing, um, overly anxious about the situation, as opposed to letting things unfold in their own time and then maneuver as the warrior that you are, um, in order to overcome that situation, um, with the appropriate set of tools for you to overcome that situation. I mean. So, Swords continues. This is in your card of the recent past, Nine of Swords. Um, this usually is a card that represents sleepless nights and mental anguish, overthinking, second guessing oneself, trying to quiet the noise, the buzz in your head. This could also refer to many people's advice. That's the message that's coming to me. Perhaps you are consulting too many other people rather than listening to yourself. Perhaps this narrative of victimhood or defensiveness that has built up in your mind has been reinforced by many other people around you. Nine of Swords is an invitation to calm one's mind, to find your center, to find that position of inner peace and quiet. I wonder whether you're doing any kind of meditation, any kind of wellness, um, that's about keeping your mind still. And it's interesting because your cards in your conscious thoughts is King of Pentacles, and subconscious thoughts is Nine of Pentacles, and these are two very positive cards. So I like the energy of these two cards. Very different from the central challenge that you're finding yourself in and the recent past that has led you to this challenge. So right now you are finding new ground. Look at the position of both of them. I think quite similar, confident stance. The King of Pentacles, right on top of a mountain with a great view um, of the land and the skies. King of Pentacles is about achievement, about confidence, the ability to create things and to lead. Pentacles is also the sign of money and wealth, right? So King of Pentacles is one who's on top of his game, incredibly confident of his ability to create and to manifest. But also Pentacles is about the earth. It's about being grounded, planted 2 feet firmly on the ground, not in his head, unlike the Swords, right? Which is about the mental energy. So Pentacles is about this earthly, material, creative energy. And also Nine of Pentacles is in your subconscious. I think there's another, to continue with our theme of duality, right? it's hard not to think about masculine and feminine energies being harmonized here. So, what I love about the Nine of Pentacles card, there's this quiet confidence of this kind of Native American woman, right? Like a chieftain. She's got her eyes on the prize. Um, this creature symbolizing wisdom. And Nine of Pentacles is about the taking this final moment to breathe. One last maneuver, one last strategic pause before real action has to happen moving forward. So um, I can see the importance here um, in the year ahead, um, spending particularly this present time. So King of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles came out as your conscious and subconscious thoughts of the present moment. And the fact that they have this very clear position of being very firm, um, with feet firmly on the ground, this is a time to pause, a time for strategic planning. What is it that you really want? What is a course of action that I need to take to get to the goals that I have for myself, for the year ahead, and for my career, for my love life? And there might need to be something that um, needs to be let go of. So, Two of Swords represents crossroads. Nine of Pentacles and King of Pentacles suggests that you've achieved so much actually, but something might need to be pruned out. Something might need to be let go of. There's a judgment to be made of what's excessive about the situation and what is a kind of energy that I need to channel in order to move forward. So one last breath, deep breath before you forge ahead. Um, you've got the Emperor in your near future. Emperor came out in the reverse. Emperor is actually the Aries card in the tarot. It symbolizes Aries. Emperor represents divine masculine energy. It's about authority, about traditional power, um, here represented by a businessman, right? Like a like someone who um, leads the boardroom, speaks with this kind of imperious voice of leadership, and that's Aries. That's Aries manifested as the warrior in full maturity. So, going off to a bit of a tangent about your astrology. So, I look at your moon phase. So, what was the moon phase at the time of your birth? And what sign is it in? And your moon phase is the new moon in Aries. And this is called the infant's moon. So this is the very first moon phase. It's a new moon of the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. And that's why it's called the infant's moon. And the infant here represents a being of pure joy, pure, vivacious, effervescent energy, who's like really keen to trust the world, embrace the universe of its benevolence. But there's going to be a lot of lessons to be learned in your lifetime. So you're a very new soul as an infant's moon. Um, you haven't quite made it yet to full emperor warrior mode, um, the infant is impressionable. The infant is here to learn. The infant, it loves so fully, um, seeks protection at all times, um, but can also really absorb hurt and anguish, right? Things will feel, um, things will pierce so deep into a new soul in this universe. And I think that you will encounter many struggles in your life um, that will need you to build protection, um, to build kind of like a bubble of protection around you, a force field, if you will, so that each hurt or each disappointment um, isn't felt so original and so devastating. And that's going to be part of your hero's journey. That's going to be part of your warrior's journey. And so the Emperor coming out in the reverse here, to me, suggests that you are in the right path to manifest your true Aries full power, right? This energy of innovation that Aries has. But at the same time, there will still be some obstacles here. And there's some from the swords cards, it sounds as if there's an energy of second guessing, of self victimhood, a narrative of um, this is all my fault, or I don't deserve this. And you need to break away from that. You need to ground yourself in that King of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles energy, and figure out what is it really that's keeping me in this self victimhood narrative. And so let's see four more cards to look at. Um, so this should be representing you. That's the Hangman, representing others. The Devil, representing other events that might happen. Knight of Swords, and final card, Page of Swords. This is very interesting. Um, the Hanged Man represents a change of perspective. Why do I have a feeling that this is a card that you frequently draw in tarot readings? Let me know if that's true. So Hanged Man often connotes something very negative, or at least the traditional reading suggests Hangman. It's usually read as you're not going to get what you want right now. You need to wait. You're in a position of stasis, in a position of being frozen at a particular moment. There's a lesson that you need to learn right now. But it's evolved into more positive interpretations of change of perspective, of a paradigm shift, or reviewing the evidence and reinterpreting it based on a new maturity, a new emotional maturity, and deeper insight that comes from the heart, not from the mind. And so the Hangman suggests to me you might need to look at some particular events or stories that you keep on going back to in your head that keep you in the Eight of Swords and Nine of Swords energy. There's I don't want to overuse the term trauma, but it's the imperfect word that's coming to me right now. Um, I'm just getting the message that you seem to be repeating a particular story, and you need to kind of revisit that event in your head, really meditate, really reflect, um, and don't ask other people, but go down deep within yourself and unearth and unpack a new truth, a new aspect of that story that will release you from the bondage, from that position of self victimhood that it's really dug yourself down deep on. And it could refer to other people as well. The fact that the devil card refers to other people suggests to me that you might be turning to others, another. It could be a father figure, it could be a male figure in your life, it could be a lover as well. Something that's keeping you back in a loop, back in a particular set of programming that you need to deprogram, if you will. So it's as if like you keep on repeating a particular cycle, and then you reboot, start again as the infant, um, and the infant is unable to grow and manifest into the warrior, and it's a devil energy that keeps this infant stuck in a particular window that doesn't allow the infant to fully grow into the emperor. So, can you let me know? Is it a person? Is it an event? Um, is it a particular situation with family that you feel like is keeping you from manifesting, or you feel so obliged to or tied down to, that there's a particular set of responsibilities that you can't get away from? Are you blaming somebody for a decision that you had to make at a particular point of your professional life, but it impacts also to your personal life? Was there a particular um, situation that you had to compromise, and at the back of your head, you're still kind of blaming someone for that compromise? Or it could be someone, or it could have been a particular event. So in order for the infant to grow into the warrior, there's a story that needs to be retold. The narrative needs to be shifted and interrupted. External events, unforeseen circumstances, things to watch out for. There's a Knight of Swords coming into your life. Knight of Swords represents not you. I think this represents somebody else. Someone who's incredibly smart, super witty. So a Knight of Swords is obviously someone who's very courageous, who's very bold, who's very dashing, but also very sharp in tongue, right? Um, and and I wonder, someone who can kind of like slice this butterfly in half, right? Like he has a way with words that could really cut somebody down, but it's also he can also be super witty, super funny, very charming in that way, very learned, perhaps an intellectual. I don't think this person is in your life right now. So I hope that um, I hope this turns out to be quite the romance. We can have a look. We can draw another card and see. Who is this Knight of Swords? So Swords is also an air sign, right? So think about a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius? Is there someone in your life? Is this a romance? Yeah, I think Seven of Cups, there's going to be like some element of like wish fulfillment attached to this person. So as you can see here, you're projecting some fantasies into this person. And Cups is, of course, the suit of love and affection and emotion. So I can see elements of emotion here, but make sure that um, this person means what he says, because that's also the underlying meaning of Seven of Cups: fantasy, illusion, the need to discern what's real and what's insincere. And finally, you've got the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords as your final card for the year ahead. I think this represents you going back to the Two of Swords, right? And the Eight of Swords as your central two cards in this reading. Then you go back to Page of Swords. Page of Swords, I associate this once again to your moon phase of being the infant's moon. You're an infant's moon child, and look at this young, fierce Arya Stark, warrior princess, um, here to embrace the journey. Don't lose that enthusiasm and that infectious excitement for things around you. When so when you start feeling kind of bored or jaded, that's a time when you need to remind yourself that the path of your 2020 should be one which is true to the spirit of Page of Swords, which is embrace adventure, embrace learning. The page is somebody who is open to new skills that needs to be enhanced, that needs to be refined. So Page of Swords will be your path to the Emperor, right? So and the quality of the page is someone who's excited and who's very humble, not like a know-it-all. So a bit antithetical there, that you need to channel the infant's moon energy, to embrace that fully. You're going to get knocked down. There's still something in the past that needs to be revisited. There's something, I keep getting messages of something in the past that needs to be revisited and needs to be reframed. The past needs to be kind of repositioned in order to serve you better in the present, right? In order for you to manifest to full emperor status. And the Page of Swords, I think, reinforces this message. Um, is to embrace that inner child, embrace and cherish that infant moon energy, to hold space for that. One thing that I can also invite you to do, um, go and look at old photographs of yourself as a child, and kind of talk to that child. What would you say to him, right? What would you say to the Mike of high school, who was uh, quite the achiever, always a teacher's pet, perhaps not the most popular in his class? What would you say to him? How would you encourage him? How can you be more compassionate to your young self? And channel that compassion back at you in the present. right? So try to have that dialogue with a younger you. Maybe he can also speak back to help you in your own current situation, to help you let go of some resentments that haven't really quite stabilized yet, for you to manifest um, the best airy self that you can be. So let me do just some final draws for career, and then family, and then love. Hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. So career. There's really a consistent story here of Page and youth, right? Career, Page of Pentacles. Um, Page of Pentacles here. A young boy creating origami. So going back to themes of creativity, um, of creating something from scratch, also of making do, right? Like origami is about from something very plain and ordinary, creating something useful and also something artistic out of that. And I think that could be a message about a career issue, a professional issue that you have right now. You need to find ways to be resourceful. Family is Three of Pentacles. You've got quite a lot of pentacles. So again, about money, about material possession, about earthly energy. And I love this card. Look at that. It's cooperation. You're gonna come together for a common goal. And Pentacles is about the home. And isn't that beautiful? So it's about being present for each other, supporting each other materially. That's just by showing up, right? And how beautiful is this card? So I drew your last card for love, right? And we did talk about the Knight of Swords already, and how that's related to love. But look at this, the Star. The Star is actually my favorite card. Um, or I'm lying, actually, I love the Moon as well. The Star is a card of destiny, it's a card of hope. It comes after the Tower, which is the card of destruction and unforeseen calamity and catastrophe. And after the storm comes the Star. And it's about a new direction, it's about new purpose and meaning, and also like cosmic purpose. And finding your true north. So here you've got an astronaut kind of like floating through space, but it's about finding your tether, finding connection, finding direction. And the Star, when it comes to a love reading, is usually like kind of soulmate energy. But it's also about being true to oneself and true to one's own desire and being so sincere about it, right? And how appropriate that we have this crystal with us, because if that isn't a manifestation of the Star card, right? I don't know what is. You've got these amethyst, gorgeous, grapey flower, but right in the middle, you've got kind of like this otherworldly creature, kind of emerging from that cocoon in the middle. And isn't that a manifestation of the star? Kind of like this cosmic force. And right in the middle, you've got truth, you've got honesty, you've got purpose. And so hopefully that is helpful. I tend to give quite mushy readings, and let me know if this resonates. I tried to be as precise as I can, but I'm still embracing like all the possibilities. And let me know if you have any further questions, and I'm also happy to draw other oracle cards for you to help clarify anything. So happy birthday